Hey guys, what's up? In today's tutorial we are going to actually talk about the three melodies that actually used a lot in the melodic techno. Depending on the type of the melody, it could be like a bass, a chord, or like arpeggio. You will hear these ones like almost like half of the tracks that you are listening in melodic techno genre. They are quite like a classic, I would say, and I thought maybe we should take a look at them and I can explain a bit briefly how they work or why they work, so that you can also add them in your tracks to spice your tracks up a little bit. But before we start with the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell button so you get the notifications when we make a new video like this. Other than that, let's take a look. So I have actually a kick over here and a pad. It's just to make the background ready for our arpeggio. I will start with the arpeggio, by the way, and it sounds like this. I would say it's quite like melodic techno-ish minor chord. I think this is F minor together with the just simple deep kick, I will say. So what I have done is actually installed or loaded the SERUM, because more or less everybody has a SERUM. I want to do this with something that everybody has probably, and it's easier to understand what's going on because of the visual feedback that the synthesizer has. So I would like to start with arpeggio, but one of the most used arpeggio, I will say, in melodic techno. And if you don't know the I would say the harmony, you would still understand what I mean here, because I will start with telling like one of the most used arpeggio in this genre is actually 1, 5, and 6. So you can use it in different combinations. You would hear this combination from both synth track to, I don't know, to Masterplex. So it doesn't really matter. It is always there. So if I make it a bit easier for you to understand, let's make a super short plug over here. But before we start with that, let's make like a 1, 5, 1, 5, 6. So you will understand a bit better what I mean by that. So let's say we are in the F minor, then minor chord goes like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we are back to our root note, I will say. So what I mean by the 1, 5, 6 is like you start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 5, and 6. Because it's minor chord, you see that we start with like a 2 half note, 2 half, 2 half, half, 2 half, 2 half. So the minor note is always this way. It will be always the same. So you can transpose it to any chord, any tune that you want. Let's say you are writing C, you can just move this to the C, and then you can actually define or realize which one is the 5th and the 6th and the 1st. Because my pads are in F minor, so I will continue with F minor in this case. I will just turn these off. So I'm just hitting this 0, and then this, and then more or less this. And let me put it here. This is at the moment, it's too fast, so we can make it a bit like slower. Let's double this up and put it this way. So this is a good speed. The problem at the moment is basically it is not a plug, so it is sounding a bit weird. And you will see that actually this is not the full, or this is kind of going for the polyrhythm, because we are not completing this and we are repeating like a, if we just say this is the full bar, 21 to 22, and this is like the quarter bar, it is like the 4.3 of the quarter bar that we are going to duplicate. So let me just delete this. I just cut it there, and then I'm gonna just loop it so that you can actually feel and see if you will remember this note or display. What we are going to do, basically make a plug, put a filter on the first oscillator, move this down a bit more, plucky. And the second oscillator will be a bit more aggressive. It is on the cutoff. Put it on to one side, put it right. This, you will hear this arpeggio like everywhere. Oftentimes they this arpeggio wouldn't use in the lead arp. This is like most of the time on the background, and you would even hear this one as like a sine wave. That is also quite often, especially when you have kind of a boss initial lead sound in the front, because then you don't want this to be occupying too much space in your frequency, because you have a lot of rich lead sounds. So you would like to have kind of a sine wave, like a super strong root frequency, and then like easy to hear, but it still doesn't occupy too much space on your frequencies. So let's go for like a simple sine wave, probably, or the analog sine wave. Let's take this one. And then oftentimes they would put it like a slight, like this, a slight distortion. You will hear this like a lot. What often done for this type of actually, I would say, plugs or the melody is like you will put a delay kind of, and let's go for echo, and it will be most of the times a dotted. But you can actually put it into the group it up, make this to, or you can do it like this way. Let's delete this, put it into the delay over here, make it super web, and then put a compressor and use the SYNTHS instead. Let's solo this, and then you want to get this one sidechain to the origin sound. You want to have this one super fast, both on the release and the attack, and together. And oftentimes you can even like blend this one with the reverb, so that you get the like a more mushiness out of it, and you push it a bit more on the background. Or let's use it on here. Yeah. Again, depending on the vibe that you're aiming for. Like this one, like I said, it's on the more background. If you want more aggressive, then you can definitely go for like something like this, or even introduce the signals later. And there's different combinations of this one. I will say this is probably one of the most used version. The second version I would definitely think is, let's duplicate this and put this off and go back to here, and let's just do like this. Second one, this one ends more with the C, because this is like the fifth again. So let me play, and let's loop this. And in this case, they often use a bit longer plug rather than this one. So let's go the longer version. Let's cut this off a little bit. It almost like brings up this kind of bots in brass sound, I would say. So this is the first one that I would like to talk about, and the second one is actually more like a bass. Let's turn this off, because this will be different, I would say, the progression. So this one you would also hear a lot. This one is similar to the first one, but most of the time utilized as a chord progression and a bass. So let's go for the bass. In this case, let's make it just simple bass, I would say. And this one is called actually 6, 4, and 1. It's also used and utilized a lot, I would say. And let's make something like this. So again, let's say you don't remember what is, again, the fourth and the fifth and the blah blah, whatever it is. The first one, second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, sixth one. So in this case, we are going for the sixth, fourth, and then first. So this will be a bit longer. So let me do it all the way up here. So it starts with the sixth, one bar, and then goes for the fourth, another bar. Let me push it all the way up. Sorry, not one bar, half bar. Half bar, another half bar, and then one full bar. Actually, we can even make it longer because I feel like it won't be enough to distribute the feeling or make the feeling or to give the feeling. And let's do it this way. Push it up. Here we go. And let's just duplicate these guys. And let's play. Not here, of course. We're gonna make a bass, so I'm gonna tune this down and put some filter on it. And then oftentimes there's a LFO on this one. Of course, this sound oftentimes has reverb on top of that. Let's put a reverb. So you will hear this one a lot again. This is used more often a bit like I would say a bit slower tracks, like around 120 BPM to 123. So this is more like creating this really dark ambient sound and giving this super duper melancholic vibe to the track. And the next one is actually used more like a bass, and most oftentimes it's used actually in driving basses. So going this like one octave below and above, and then putting this kind of unstable notes. It could be like sixth and the fourth. And again, let's put a SERUM over here. Let's shorten this down. We won't need this long. And let's do it this way. So what we are going to do, this case is like we will start with the bass note, like the F, and then we are going to put it one octave above, and in between we are going to fill things up. So what I mean by that is, let's start with the F. Let's take F over here. And let's put a, SERUM. Let's put it into the init mode. We are gonna have this like a short bass, a filter on cutoff, and cutoff on top of that. Something like this. Let's put it one-sided and make it a bit faster, of course. This is too slow. Something like this. Let's just copy it. Turn it down. Oftentimes this is used like with the second oscillator to give this kind of a bit like a grit to the sound. But if you want to aim for cleaner sound, you can definitely go for a single oscillator. Or if you want to make it more bassy, you can put a sub. Something like this. And then what you would like to do after that point, put a compressor and sidechain it to the kick. So do you get this kind of sucking feeling? Let's make it a bit brighter so that we can hear. And you can definitely go for kind of distortion. You can even go for the chorus if you wish. Just be careful with the low end below 200 Hz. Try to make it like a bit mono. But in this case, you can click on this one mid here and put onto the side, put a high pass filter, something like this should be sufficient. The trick over here is starting like transposing the notes here and try to come up with a melody. So what I would do, put like F into one octave above. Let's just loop this. Then you would like to pick an unstable note. So this is most of the time 6th or the 4th. I would go for 6 in this case. So again, if you don't remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it is C sharp. So let's just reverse it. You already have this bass groove, again, just utilizing the bass, the groove note, and then just utilizing put another unstable note, which is 4th or 6th. Let's go for the 4th so that you can see or feel the difference. So the 5th, 4th. Of course, you can use 5th and 6th at the same time, or the 4th or the 6th, but I also like sometimes like the 5th one as well. I will definitely think something like this maybe. Again, it depends on your taste at the moment. So let's go for the 4th again. But I feel like if you want to go for more melodic techno, 5th, 6th is like the go-to basically. And again, you can actually make it as fancy as you would like to make. Like you can, for example, say, okay, every other note that I'm going to put the bass like this, and the rest will be my let's say my melodic note. So you have this bass, so then you can play around a little bit. But try to, for example, for my taste is a bit too melodic, because this is in the bass line. You will probably gonna have like another arp or another like a lead sound. So if you make it this complicated, then try to make at least other elements a bit simpler, so that at least they don't get too much like or you don't confuse the listener too much, because the melodies are running over all the time. So it's easier to lose the focus if you have too many melodies. And yeah, I think this was it for today's video, and I hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.